Today, we're talking about the missing link that's holding most INFJs back. You might ask yourself, why are INFJs not so successful in life, right? Why is it that you hear everywhere, oh, INFJs are so smart or they're such visionaries, but then when you look at their life or you look at your own life, you feel like you fall short to that. You have all that potential, but it doesn't really show up in your day-to-day life. And a lot of statistics actually show that this is the case. But I'm here to tell you that doesn't have to be the case anymore. I've experienced so many INFJ success stories after following a couple of certain steps that will make the biggest difference, right? In a lot of ways, these are the things we talk about in bootcamp. These are the things that my whole program is based on. But sometimes it's not that easy to put it in a little bit of a nutshell so you can take this with you. There's so many aspects to it. But today, I really want to talk about this missing link that a lot of INFJs are just oblivious to. And I know I was. Similarly to once I found out about MBTI and being an INFJ, it's like, the world opened to me. I sort of, for the first time, had a language that I could describe myself with. I could make myself into some kind of structure that helped me to understand who I am, what I want, and like what's going on and what the next step is that I want to take in my life. Nothing really had changed, but I had a certain amount of awareness. And I know you feel the same. You've experienced this. Once you found out you're an INFJ, it's like a new door opened. But there's one particular thing that has not been talked about a lot, and that still keeps a lot of INFJs at that level where they have this awareness, they definitely feel better than before, but it doesn't improve much beyond that. And that's what we're going to change. Before we get really into it, remember we have launched the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp. This round is starting January 15th, so you have time to join until then. You find all the information in the link in the description. If you look at your life, you will experience that in many ways you feel like you've done everything you can. There's no step you can take that would make you more fulfilled. If I go a certain direction, it will just cause me to pretend I'm somebody else. If I expand myself more, I sort of am not going to be able to help others the way I can. It sort of feels like I've actually outgrown the system that I'm living in, or I have actually just made all of that happen. So many INFJs feel this way, and that's the place where you get stuck the most because there's no place to grow. You don't even know what to do. Even if you wanted to grow, it feels like you're still staying within that space. Imagine you're in like this room in your house and you've started small and now you've expanded yourself out in this entire room. And where do you want to go? Like, what are you going to do? And the truth is, we have to step out of that. We have to step out of the entire game. In order to win that game, we have to abandon it altogether. And that game that I'm talking about is the game of survival. Most INFJs are living in a state of survival where they use all their power in order to keep their head above water, to sort of barely make it by, and to help everybody around us. That's why so often you hear INFJs being martyrs. That's this thing that we have embodied. And very often, if you look at a lot of posts, social media, or just the general perception, it's even something that is being, looked at as, oh, that's just how I am. I'm an INFJ. And, it's sort of like this joke of, oh, I'm not doing the best for me, but that's just who I am. Haha, I'm an INFJ. And I completely understand where this is coming from. I'm glad that this gives us an opportunity to bond, that this gives us an opportunity not to feel alone. But at some point, you're ready for the next step. At some point, you have to understand that you can have even more than that. You can feel connected, and you can feel connected through your strengths. You can feel connected through allowing yourself, to be the best version of yourself. That doesn't mean that you have to deny your weaknesses, that you have to pretend that they don't exist, or your insecurities. None of that. It's all good the way it is. You just can have more. And when I say more, I'm not talking about going a certain corporate ladder that everybody around you is taking, or being like this person that sort of seems like, that's what society wants from you, but in a way where you feel like you're tapping into your potential, where you feel successful, where you feel like you're living your INFJ epic life. That's what we want. So how do we do that? How do we step out of this place of survival and get into the state of thriving, right? So it's not about surviving, it's about thriving. That's the change we want. And that actually means that we have to let go of this room, so to say. We have to let go of this mindset of this state of being. And there's one thing that's holding us back, and this one thing is rejection. We have to be aware of that, because how do you currently live? Imagine a cup of energy, right? We as INFJs have learned to work with like this bare minimum of energy in our cup and give as much to others as we possibly can. This is an incredible strength of ours. It's something that so many INFJs are proud of. And that is something that, yeah, will take us far in life, but only to a certain point. It doesn't feel like we have tapped into our potential. If you feel this way, maybe things are different. Maybe you're not in survival mode. But most of us who feel like their potential isn't tapped into yet, I haven't really pulled out of my life what I possibly can, that's what they live in. That's what I used to live in, right? I can talk about this so openly because I have experienced this so well. And it was a badge of honor. It was the way I was. It was part of my identity. And in order to change that, what do you have to do? So one metaphor is the cup of energy that right now, let's say you're in the survival mode, you have barely anything left, which allows you still to function, to, live a life that is okay, that is, working in some kind of capacity, and you get to help people, and therefore you get like some kind of recognition, love, acceptance, and so on. And that metaphor of the energy cup that we're also going to talk about when it comes to the thriving mode is actually something that you hear about a lot. The other metaphor is something that I have developed for myself, and that is that we as INFJs have the capacity to keep ourselves really, really small, so we allow the people around us to expand as much as they want. We thrive through that by seeing what we can do for others, how much space we can allow them. And you will recognize yourself in this. When you meet a new person and you really get all into their music style, you fall into their emotional state, you sort of want to learn from that person. And it can be an interesting experience, but what is the price we're paying? We're paying the price of being small. And when you're small, you don't know what you want, you feel like you're not tapping into your potential, and you have no other room to go because you can't make yourself any smaller. It's just not possible. So you've reached this level where everything is just stagnating. You cannot do anything more. And with the energy cup, it's similar. Like there is nothing less you can do. You cannot give to others more. You will run yourself dry. In the end, you won't have any energy left if you would go even further. And I've taken this to an extreme where I really had a reality break where I had to understand I need to change. Like that's not a life. Like I'm not even going into the world. I have become this hermit in my mind. I don't want to face reality because, being myself was just not accepted, right? I was in this state where I was trying to help that person, and it was sort of like if I was growing, I was pushing them down. I was making them small just by me being myself. And I felt like it was my responsibility. And we as INFJs feel like this so often as long as we play in this field, which is I am doing this because there's nobody else saving them. I need to keep myself small. Me being myself, me expanding myself, me putting myself first is actually hurting others. And I'm responsible for that. That's really a mindset trick that is going on so often in so many INFJs, and that is really holding us back. So the alternative, the thing that's really going to change it for you is to say, no, I'm not going to stay this small. I'm going to expand. Or to say from that cup of energy, I'm going to fill it up. And I'm still going to give to others, but it's going to be actually from a different place. It will be from a place of my energy cup is overflowing and what is in excess of what I create, my personal energy, me being the most I can be, not the smallest, but the most that is affecting people positively. And it will be different people, it'll be in a different way, and you will recognize in many cases that it's different than before in a way that before it was enabling. Very often we don't even recognize this until we start that process. So that's how it would look like with the metaphor of the cup, with the metaphor that I always like to use of, you keep yourself small, you expand. The bigger you expand, the less you're going to be able to allow other people to be all of themselves. Like you're not making that happen for them. If they want this, then then they have to expand themselves. And then you got to find a compromise. When before it was you who said, I'm making myself small so you have all that space that you can take up in our relationship. And I can guarantee you, you won't understand others as well as you used to. You won't understand their fears, their motivations, what they're going through, their taste of music. You won't feel it as much. But guess what? This before was a codependent relationship where you cared more about their problems than they did. And the worst part about it is that because you focus so much on them, you're not focusing on yourself. So that is it from a system standpoint. That's what we want to get to. Now the question is, how do we get to that? What is the practical thing that you can do? And the practical thing that you can do is to start expanding yourself in a way that people are going to reject you for. Like, what are the things that you like to do that your friends might not? A very mundane example would be your friends come over and you used to always think about, oh, I'm going to put on the music that my friend A likes, and then I'm going to find a compromise that will also work with friend B. That's my goal, right? We're not talking about the thing of, okay, I'm a host, I should, cater to others. That is our go-to thing. Like, even if everybody is in the car and there's not like this one host, you will rather put your own needs behind in order to make other people comfortable. You all go to the movies, you rather would want other people's wishes to be fulfilled, right? What they want to watch. And you will tell yourself, I don't really care what music we listen to. I don't really care what movie we watch. And these are, again, just very everyday examples, but this goes back to your identity. This goes back to how you live your life, what you prioritize in your life, what is important to you. It might be free time. It might be that you voice your opinion about things that your friends don't care about, right? Things that we hold back, things that make us small. But the more you practice this becomes who you are. You fill that space up for yourself. You automatically crush that world that existed before, because once you start doing this, all the dynamics you have with people change. All of them. It really is a new game, it's a new place, and it's a place where you can continuously expand. Because yes, you will have people who want to listen to the music you're listening to, but they choose this because they know what your music taste is and they choose to get close to that. They want to experience the energy that you exude. And again, that's just a mundane example, but it's about how you live your life. I have changed all my dynamics. The people that I help most now wouldn't even be aware of what I was doing before, because I was holding myself back so much in order to enable the people around me to sort of grow as much as they can. The moment I started putting myself first, I wasn't their crutch anymore. I also wasn't telling them that the way they lived their life was the best way. Before that, I was doing that subconsciously by not stepping into my bigger self. But guess what? The moment you step into your potential, the moment you say, I'm going to do something extraordinary, what is the thing that we're most afraid of? People are going to look at us and say, who does he or she think he or she is? They're going to say, oh, okay, now I feel bad about myself because, that INFJ is going for their dream and I'm not. We feel responsible for that. And so we have to face all of those fears, all of those limiting beliefs that are holding us back, those things that will hurt us in the first moment, because they will. Those are the things that kept us in this last world. And when we step into a new world, into a new way of living, you're going to face those things. You're going to face rejection. You're going to face, feeling responsible for making other people feel small. But through that process, you'll learn that there's a new normal. Think about it from a perspective of, a physically abusive relationship. It's the easiest to explain it there. The person who is being abused, they feel responsible if they would leave. They feel like if I leave, they will hurt themselves or their life will go down the drain. I'm the person who saves them. Looking from the outside, it's clear, go out. That's not the place for you. You have to take care of yourself first. In order for that person to step out of that abusive relationship that for us from the outside looks like so obvious, they have to face these fears. They have to look at those fears of, I'm a bad person if I leave them. I'm going to hate myself if I do this. They have to face all of that. And the thing is this, if you live in survival mode, you're sort of abusing yourself. And in order to get to a place where it's all about abundance, abundance, where you continuously grow, you have to face those fears. You have to go for the things that are going to cause you rejection, because they're the things that make you feel like you can now finally live. You can now be yourself. You can allow yourself to voice whatever is in your mind. And yes, there are going to be reactions, but most of the things we're going to face are our own fears, our own limiting beliefs, and these are the things we need to change. You got this. Take it step by step. And if you say, I want a community, I want a place where I'm safe, where I see people doing this all around me, which will pull me in the right direction, then join the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp. You have time until Saturday, January 15th. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video on how to get into Beast Mode 2022.